Welcome back, my fellow Force users, to analysing Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm your host, Darth Herder, aka Triple S, and in this episode we'll be analysing the 6th and final episode of the first season. I'll be going through what I like and dislike about the episode, how it compares to and fits with other Star Wars media that I'm knowledgeable of, and also bring up anything I find interesting or noteworthy enough to mention. There might be spoilers for other media related to Star Wars as well, so you've been warned. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts on this video and what other movies, TV shows, etc. you'd like to see me cover, so please let me know in a comment below. With all that said, let's begin.
Number 1.
And right off the bat, I wish Reva would have force choked this nerf herder instead of just force knocking the cup out of his hand. Though maybe she couldn't because she's actually using most of her force reserves to move her legs, since they should really be paralysed due to her spine being severed by Vader in the previous episode.
Number 2.
So Reva really does seem to have gotten to Tatooine incredibly quickly somehow, doesn't she? Maybe she fast-travelled? The only way she could have really gotten to Tatooine before Obi-Wan is if the ship Obi-Wan, Leia and the rebels are on was able to avoid the Devastator for such a long period of time that Reva was able to find a ship with a hyperdrive and get to Tatooine before even Obi-Wan sets off for there himself. Or maybe we're being shown events out of order, like Reva actually only arrived on Tatooine around the same time Obi-Wan got done fighting with Vader, and the events of Reva tracking down Owen, fighting the Lazes and chasing after Luke all happened whilst Obi-Wan was in hyperspace on his way to Tatooine. An argument against this is when Obi-Wan seems to sense when Reva force pulls Luke off of the cliff edge. This could be explained by Obi-Wan experiencing a force premonition of this event happening, or his sensing of Luke being in danger was just due to Reva arriving on Tatooine and asking around about Owen.
Number 3.
Considering this guy had the time to find and warn Owen about Reva, and Owen and Luke had time to head home, and Owen and Beru had time to prepare for Reva's arrival, this guy must have risked his life to lie to Reva and send her off on a wild goose chase to buy Owen, Beru and Luke time. Like, she decided not to force mind read him to see if he was lying, and she chose not to question or force mind read anyone else. Or maybe she did when she realised this guy must have lied to her after wandering around in the desert without finding Owen's farm all day. Or he did in fact tell her where Owen lives, but she then spent the day force meditating to force heal herself as much as possible. No, not the Rise of Skywalker version of force healing, but the Legends version, where you have to actually train to use the ability, explaining why Qui-Gon didn't force heal himself and why Obi-Wan didn't force heal him. They both hadn't specced into it. Hell, even Anakin couldn't use force healing until he became Darth Vader, and was then able to use the dark side to make his lungs work for a short time without the aid of his suit. But even then, it would have taken him a lot of practice to get to the point where he could permanently use the force to work his lungs and no longer have to rely on his suit.
Number 4.
So Obi-Wan wants to leave the rebel ship to draw Vader away. You know how you could have also stopped Vader from chasing after the rebel ship, Benjamin? By staying behind on Jabeam and facing him alongside Reva. I mean, sure, the 2v1 would have become a 2v2 since the Grand Inquisitor would have gotten involved, but for all Obi-Wan knows, Vader might remember the lesson he learnt from back in Attack of the Clones and bring along the Grand Inquisitor and any other Inquisitors on the Devastator to face him, and then he would be really screwed, or just blasting from orbit. But, of course, we see Vader didn't really learn his lesson from Attack of the Clones, nor from the end of Revenge of the Sith concerning facing Obi-Wan alone.
Number 5.
I roll my eyes at everyone complaining about how the show made Beru into a strong, independent woman, putting her foot down that they won't run like Owen wants to, won't put others in danger to protect her family, and is the one who digs out their hidden guns and starts giving out orders. Have the people complaining never encountered any stubborn, take-charge protective women in their lives? You know who Beru reminds me of? Sarah Connor. Sure, Beru doesn't go through a traumatic experience in her first appearance like Sarah did in the first Terminator movie, but between Terminator and Terminator 2, Sarah Connor changed from being helpless to being a badass because of the knowledge she has of the coming war with the machines. A similar thing has happened to Beru. She knows how important Luke is, and between Revenge of the Sith and Obi-Wan Kenobi, she has changed from being helpless to being a badass because of the knowledge that one day someone might come to take or kill Luke. The only thing I can fault Beru on is her being naive enough to believe her and Owen with blasters would be any kind of a match against a force user with a lightsaber. And then I'll also fault Owen on not trying harder to convince Beru that there's a very high chance they're going to die.
Number 6.
Hang the heck on. How did Roken find anything of Tala's corpse, let alone her holster, which looks completely undamaged despite being at the centre of a thermal detonator explosion? I can believe Obi-Wan found a similar holster and put some scratches into it more than I can believe the holster miraculously survived a big explosion unscathed.
Number 7.
In Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan tells Leia, "You're 10 years old, but you won't always be." This is subtle foreshadowing to her appearance in Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, in which she is above the age of 10.
Number 8.
Whether he dies or I do, this ends today.
Are you sure about that?
Number 9.
So despite the Grand Inquisitor's advice, Vader completely abandons the pursuit of the rebels to go after Obi-Wan. Here's how I think the scene should have gone though. My lord, we must continue our pursuit of the insurgents.
Obviously, send all of our TIE fighters after the rebel ship, then set the Devastator to follow Kenobi.
Good thinking, my lord. I completely forgot the Devastator has a complement of 72 TIE fighters. Why didn't we deploy them earlier?
Because I didn't want the rebel ship destroyed since it had Obi-Wan on it. That's why I ordered the gunners to just shoot around the ship, not actually at it. Number 10.
Yeah, not gonna lie, hearing Obi-Wan quote Revenge of the Sith and then assume his classic pose did make me experience a fanboy moment.
Number 11.
This was a major tactical blunder on the Laz's part. They should have positioned themselves to catch Reva in a crossfire, fight simultaneously, and, you know, not missed.
Number 12.
He is my own.
Best line of the entire show, severed hands down.
Number 13.
What happened to Beru's gun? She could have shot Reva in the side of the head instead of whacking her. Plus, she should have sent Luke off earlier when she fell back into the room. Also, I guess these doors can't be locked, at least from the inside.
Number 14.
And now that she finally has her chance to kill Luke, she starts envisioning him as her childhood self and realizes she's become just like Anakin, killing younglings. And I've heard of a lot of people being like, okay, but why did she want to kill Luke anyway? Are we not going to get any kind of explanation? Is it all just because she heard Bail talking about Luke and figured if Luke is just as important to Bail and Obi-Wan as Leia, and since she can't now get to Leia, she'll go after the next best target, Luke? Because she ain't doing this to get back at Vader, there's no way she could possibly know Luke has any connection to Vader, let alone him being his son, since Vader doesn't even know he has a son and also a daughter. And I think it is the case that she was trying to kill Luke to get back at Obi-Wan. Remember, she blames Obi-Wan for not stopping Anakin killing her youngling friends, and so she's going to make Obi-Wan feel the same pain she felt by killing a youngling that's important to him.
Number 15.
And of course, Reva doesn't actually die. Despite all she's done, Obi-Wan forgives her, and her adventures will continue, if not in a TV show of her own, then probably in books and comics.
Number 16.
We get yet another appearance of Ian McDiarmid as Darth Sidious, and this is a much better appearance than what we got in Rise of Skywalker. Not to say Ian's acting was bad, he was great, but at least the writing of this show didn't make the character a goddamn idiot.
Number 17.
Don't put Vader's sudden opinion change about Obi-Wan here down to sloppy writing. I think this scene actually effectively shows just how much power Sidious has over Vader, that all he has to do is drop the tiniest hint of a threat against Vader, and Vader immediately bows down to his master. Though the whole time he's probably thinking,
oh, don't be such an old bitch!
Number 18.
When the hologram of Sidious turns off and the Imperial March theme starts playing, it just makes me think of when you're listening to music on your phone, someone calls you, and it pauses the music, and when they finally hang up, the music starts back up again.
Number 19.
Couldn't Obi-Wan have anonymously sent Lola back to Leia? He should be going straight back into hiding again. He doesn't know Vader's been pressured into giving up hunting him, but even if he did, he shouldn't forget Jedi hunting Inquisitors are still a thing. Now, Bail and Breha have to spend resources to keep track of these two guys who've seen Obi-Wan to make sure they don't go blabbing to the Empire about seeing a Jedi, or just simply imprison and maybe also execute them.
Number 20.
Say the line!
Hello there.
And this time, Luke gets to actually keep the model ship Obi-Wan gives him. Now A New Hope can actually happen.
Number 21.
It took him 10 long years, but at long last, after dying with his Force Ghost training incomplete, Qui-Gon has finally finished his training whilst dead, so that he's able to appear now before Obi-Wan. And yes, I had another fanboy moment seeing Qui-Gon again after so long, I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Number 22.
Now, at this point, you may be saying, but hang on Triple S, don't you have anything to say about Obi-Wan and Vader's fight? You completely skipped it. And you're right, I did skip over it because I wanted to talk about it now as part of what I think should have happened in the fight, and when I think Qui-Gon's Force Ghost should have appeared. So, let's begin. Essentially, I just want to switch around two events that happened during Obi-Wan and Vader's fight. Obi-Wan being buried under rocks and Obi-Wan slicing open Vader's helmet, which they clearly ripped off from Rebels just instead of having the cut on the other side. The fight plays out essentially the same with the whole Avatar The Last Airbender earthbending, Vader getting his helmet sliced open, though maybe not getting his chestplate smashed in, and Obi-Wan calling him Darth. But it's then we have Vader and Obi-Wan continue to fight, with Vader's pain and anger fueling his connection to the dark side to collapse the ground beneath Obi-Wan, and bury him beneath an absolute heck ton of rocks, like a lot more than what we see in the show, like only a miracle could save him more. And a miracle does save him, because actually here, where Qui-Gon's Force Ghost appears, having saved Obi-Wan with the aid of the Force, like a violet par force field, and it's him who warns Obi-Wan about Reva going after Luke. This change would mean Sidious's camo would have to be reworked, probably with Vader instead informing his master that Kenobi is finally dead, because that's what Vader would believe. He left Obi-Wan dead and buried under a mountain of rocks. This would take Obi-Wan off the Empire's Most Wanted list, and more seasons of the show could be made with Obi-Wan travelling off-world with whiter hair and a whiter beard, this time so it makes more sense people wouldn't recognise him.
Number 23.
Obi-Wan calling Vader Darth here to explain why he also calls him Darth in A New Hope, despite that not being his name, even though originally it was until George Lucas changed it to be a Sith title. I don't have a problem with Obi-Wan calling Vader Darth. It's like how Sidious refers to Luke as Jedi in Return of the Jedi. And unlike, say, Maul and Dooku, Anakin has changed so completely, fallen to the dark side so utterly, that Darth might as well actually be part of his name rather than just a Sith title. He is Darth, and Darth is him.
Number 24.
Why, oh why does Obi-Wan once again not finish the job and kill Anakin/Vader? Leaving him on Mustafar was more acceptable, like it was only a short while ago that they were still friends, so Obi-Wan just couldn't bring himself to kill his friend that he loved, even if he had fallen to the dark side. Plus, how is he to know Sidious was on his way to rescue Anakin? Maybe he thought he was leaving him there to die from his wounds. But couple the fact that it's been 10 years since then, with Obi-Wan here now in this episode, finally accepting that Anakin truly is gone, then the excuse that he just didn't want to be the one to kill his friend doesn't hold up as strongly as an excuse the second time around. Maybe if he hadn't sliced Vader's helmet open and wasn't able to actually see his face, he wouldn't have had any trouble striking down Vader once and for all. I've seen many theories about why Obi-Wan chose not to kill Vader across the holonet. Obi-Wan actually could sense some form of Anakin still existed in the mind of Vader. Obi-Wan believed Vader, despite no longer being Anakin, was still the chosen one destined to bring balance to the Force. Even if Obi-Wan did kill Vader, Sidious just replaced him with a new apprentice who, for all anyone knows, could actually be worse than Vader, so better the devil you know. Obi-Wan might have believed killing the defenseless Vader could have sent him down the slippery slope towards the dark side, just like when Anakin killed a defenseless Dooku, which pushed him further along the path to the dark side. It was actually at this exact moment that Obi-Wan decided to take a break from getting involved in the goings-on of the galaxy, like how he says to Owen that the future will take care of itself. All I'm saying is, if they'd gone with my version, where the fight ended with Vader burying Obi-Wan and believing him to be dead, then this whole Obi-Wan not killing Vader thing wouldn't have been an issue. That's all I'm saying. To round all this off, my most disliked part of the episode goes to Reva not dying. With the parallels that we're making between her and Vader, it would have made narrative sense for her to quote-unquote redeem herself and then die at the end, just like how Vader actually did redeem himself and then die at the end of Return of the Jedi. And my most liked part of the episode goes to the conversation between sliced helmet Vader and Obi-Wan. Actually seeing Hayden Christensen beneath the helmet and the emotion on Obi-Wan's face as he realizes how truly lost Anakin is, just so emotional, I love it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I upload new videos, and show your support for the channel by liking and sharing this video. Thank you again for watching. I've been Triple S, you've all been amazing, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.